Disaster Yukon, the podcast. Back in your ears for another sonic adventure. Much love and kisses for CFYT Radio Dawson. I'm your host, Steven, and this is Disaster Yukon. This podcast is about two individuals named Robert Service. It just shows to go ya. With a little luck and a lot of help from your friends, you just might make it. These two have very little to do with each other beside having the same first and last name. Neither of us knew it at the time, but that was a moment Robert and I would never forget. Let's discuss them side by side in a dry fashion, making feeble attempts at drawing parallels between the Roberts. Robert W. Service, Bard of the Klondike. I can't do it. I can't talk about his poetry. I can talk about his time in the Klondike. Contrary to popular belief, he did not join Lord Jim Lodge in Dawson City. It was also in Whitehorse where he met Skip's great-grandfather, Hatch J. Pomodoro, prospector. Now, Lord Jim Lodge was new in the Yukon, and as a newer society, the fellows were having a hard time recruiting. Everyone wanted to join the Eagles or the Yoop. Hatch needed someone to go to Dawson City, not for gold, to lay claim, not to a patch of ground, but the liminal space created when a certain edifice is erected in a place like Dawson City. Not something imposing like the tin-clad buildings Dawson is still famous for, and not a building at all, but an edifice unseen to the uninitiated. We may discuss this another time, we may not. It's 1898 again, September. Robert Service is a bank clerk at the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce in Whitehorse, Yukon Territory. Oxford, March 2010. Robert Service, accomplished academic and historian, is about to be awarded the Duff Cooper Prize for his biography of Leon Trotsky. Disaster Yukon, the only podcast bringing you the freshest hot takes on everything disaster as broadly interpreted for the purposes of said podcast.
Disaster Yukon.
Disaster Yukon.
Disaster Yukon. Disaster Yukon.
Disaster Yukon.
I'm joined today by veteran art journalist Skip Pomodoro, who promises not to break the fourth wall and bring us nothing but cold, hard facts. If you haven't heard of Skip, he's a veteran of art journalism and a friend of the Order of Lord Jim, as well as the late Martin Kippenberger. Skip and I will do our best to make sense of this Robert situation, which we hope won't get out of hand.
Skip Pomodoro reporting from Dawson City, Yukon. In my work uncovering the history of Lord Jim Lodge, I've received a secret recording from within Dawson City's own Lord Jim Lodge, at the former site of the Metronet subway entrance.
Last time on Disaster Yukon. Why did Martin Kippenberger build a subway to nowhere? The Metronet. Was it hostile architecture? Kippenberger's art has a lot more to say about the prosperous time. Did it have something to do with a secret society?
Before the demolition of the Metronet, a cassette tape was discovered by yours truly in a locker deep within the Metronet. The lodge must have been nearby. The Brotherhood has been unable to meet since before 2009. So this discovery is of the utmost vital socio-economic and political importance. The Brotherhood of Lord Jim Lodge has been greatly misunderstood throughout history, so I'm happy to provide the recording which should dispel such misunderstandings once and for all. I must warn today's listeners, the recording features audio from the Lodge which can trigger manifestations of entities potentially harmful to the social order, starting with the family. To prevent such interferences, you should pause the podcast and chant, "Martin Kippenberger can't hurt me," 4 times. Now that you've taken the necessary precautions, we can proceed with the recording, which at first features the voice of an as yet unidentified member of the Lord Jim Lodge.
All present. All present.
Present.
Inebriated.
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 Let us convene today's lodge in the name of Lord Jim. In the name of Lord Jim. Art. Brother Martin, the Metronet continues to grow rhizomatically across smooth and striated space, tracing new lines of flight across 1,000 plateaus. That's a Deleuze and Guattari reference. Brother Martin, your work in the art world has done much to advance our global interests. Soon we will reveal our society and its secret mission to the world, which merely slumbers while we work around and about the clock. We couldn't do that if it weren't for the psychogeographical reterritorialization of the bourgeois art market. By encouraging flows of capital through the spectacle of the auction, you're allowing confrontation of contradiction by an enlightened proletariat, of which art students are the vanguard. A brilliant psyop indeed.
Skip Pomodoro here again. The recording goes on. I'll hand it over to Disaster Yukon to continue today's regular programming.
Disaster Yukon, the podcast. Here at Disaster Yukon, we're committed to the highest standards known to humankind. That includes recognizing good scholarship of Soviet history by British historians like our Robert J. Service. Now, it's come to the attention of the Disaster Yukon team that there is a wide range of standards of scholarship on the Soviet era among British academics. I want to assure my listeners that we'll only be discussing the best UK scholars of Soviet history. There were fellows of the British Academy before him, and there will be more, and also members of Lord Jim Lodge like our very own veteran art journalist Skip Pomodoro and old Martin Kippenberger. What brings such fine folks together is fellowship among others of their craft and many crafts. You see, I could have majored in history, but instead I chose creative writing. Do I regret my decision? No, but sometimes I wonder. Like I wonder how any Yukoner feels when there's bad scholarship of Soviet history and a lot of it is in the United Kingdom. It's impossible to know, like when I'm walking past another Yukoner on the boardwalk. Do they know? Maybe that's what this podcast is really all about. We're here for better scholarship. Disaster Yukon, the podcast. Famous poet. Famous historian. Who are the Roberts? Services. And now, a well-meaning creative writing student reviews the wrong Robert Service for an amused workshop. Professor, everyone, thank you for joining me here today to discuss the one and only Robert Service. My intention when presenting on such a towering figure is to...
Skip Pomodoro here. You see, folks, in this vignette we have a student who seems to think there's only one Robert Service. This is of course not the case. as there are at least 2 of note. The vignette continues.
Robert John Service, FBA, author and historian, is best known for his biography of Lev Davidovich Bronstein, better known as Leon Trotsky. Robert John Service is a historian who continues to challenge orthodoxy and rise above controversy to... Oh, I'm out of time? I see then. Thank you all for your time. Yes, I'll see you in your office. Robert John Service, ineluctable expert of Soviet history. Robert William Service, timeless bard of the Klondike Gold Rush. In a world such as ours, with all that's going on in the world, and all you really need is a friend, well, you've got 2. Count on Robert, and Robert, to get you through the day, the evening, until rest. 2 Roberts, 1 commitment to service. And in their service to Robert kind, the Roberts leave behind much to consider. Ponderer that I am, I consider their words and great deeds on this podcast today to be unique and separate, and therefore irrelevant to each other, and not in the interests of the Academy. With that, I must utter the humbling words, "You're welcome," for, after all, someone had to compare the Roberts' service to come to this satisfying conclusion. This Soul podcast was recorded on the traditional territory of the Trondek First Nation. Special thanks to CFYT Radio, Dawson Community Library, and listeners everywhere. On the next episode, we travel through time on troubled waters to God knows where. It's a disaster, so stay tuned.